Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling perfectionism. Often seen as a strength, right? But some research, Yale, I think, suggests it's actually linked to way higher burnout
Yeah,
rates.
like 2 to 3 times higher, which is pretty significant. It's this weird paradox.
Exactly. So, our mission today is to figure out how we can, you know, flip that, use what we know about the brain to maybe make perfectionism work for us, not against us.
Right. Shift it from this crippling thing to something more productive. We want you to leave feeling less overwhelmed by that pressure.
We'll look at why the brain kind of gets hooked on perfection, then a four-step method to deal with it, and some strategies from folks who've managed to break free.
Sounds good. And it really starts with understanding it's often rooted in fear, doesn't it? Not just like super high standards.
Yeah, absolutely. Less about chasing the A and more about, well, running from the F or what people might think.
And the brain chemistry plays a big role. You get that little dopamine hit, that relief when you think you've got it
Yeah.
perfect. And that feeling, well, it can become addictive. Creates a loop. You start needing that perfect outcome just to feel okay.
And the fear part, fear of judgment, that can just freeze you up.
Oh, definitely. That's the amygdala hijack kicking in, your brain's sort of panic button,
Right. So instead of doing the thing, you're just stuck.
paralyzed.
Totally. Which ties into that all or nothing thinking. It's either flawless or it's complete rubbish. There's no room for just good enough.
It feels like there isn't, yeah. But here's an interesting counterpoint from Stanford studies, I believe.
Whoa.
They found that taking imperfect action actually leads to more success more often than, waiting around trying to craft the absolute perfect plan.
That's a huge insight, isn't it? Just starting even messy is better. A real aha
Yeah,
moment.
definitely. So, okay, how do we actually make that shift? Let's get into that four-step method.
Right. Step one you mentioned is the 80% rule.
Yeah, the 80% rule kind of taps into that Japanese idea, wabi-sabi, finding beauty in the flaws.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. So practically, it means aiming for, say, 80% quality on a first draft or attempt.
Exactly. Get something down, get it out there maybe, and then iterate. Neuroscience backs this up. Releasing that pressure helps. Plus, some Harvard research suggests those early versions often hit like 90% of the target anyway.
Interesting. Okay, so 80% first. What's step two? Something about a resume?
A failure resume, yeah. Sounds counterintuitive, I know.
Huh, it does a bit. What's involved?
You list maybe 10 significant times you felt you failed. But the key part is noting what you actually learned from each one.
Ah, okay. So reframing failure as learning. I like that.
Exactly. And apparently Columbia studies showed this can cut perfectionist anxiety quite a bit, maybe around 68%.
Right.
It's about celebrating the learning, not just dwelling on the mistake.
That's powerful. Makes sense. Okay, step three.
This one's more active. The done is better than perfect challenge. It's like a 1-week experiment.
Okay, challenging the perfectionist directly. How?
Things like submitting work a bit early, maybe even intentionally leaving in a tiny, unimportant flaw.
Ooh, that sounds tough for a perfectionist.
Right. Or sharing something before you feel it's totally ready. It's about building tolerance for that feeling of imperfection.
Exposure therapy, basically.
Okay.
And the last step.
Step 4 is the Progress Over Perfection Journal. Simple daily practice.
What do you track?
Just note down tasks you completed, any small progress you made, and importantly, practice a bit of self-compassion. Acknowledge the effort.
And does that help long term?
Seems so. University of Texas research suggests doing this daily can reduce those perfectionist tendencies, maybe noticeably within about 3 weeks, 21 days or so. It shifts focus to progress, not some impossible ideal.
Okay, those 4 steps sound really concrete. And you mentioned some other strategies,
Right.
like hacks people use.
Yeah, things high achievers do. One is setting good enough criteria before you start, like defining what done actually looks like.
So you know when to stop. Smart.
Another one is the 3-strike rule. Give yourself maybe 3 rounds of revisions max, then you have to move on.
Limits the endless tinkering. I could see that working.
And just generally, imperfection exposure therapy, consciously doing small things imperfectly to build comfort.
It all points to the same thing, really. Letting go of that absolute perfection lets the actual work emerge. Often better work, too.
Right, the momentum matters more than the mythical perfect endpoint.
Exactly.
So for you listening, maybe try a 21-day perfectionism detox. Pick 1 step per week, perhaps. See how it feels. Track your productivity versus that urge for perfection.
Yeah, see what changes. We'd genuinely love to hear about any breakthroughs you have.
And maybe leave you with this thought. The masterpiece isn't necessarily the absolutely perfect piece. It's the one that actually gets finished, the one that gets seen. Something to think about.